A bit about me. I've been agency side for 11 years-ish, and so I've seen a lot of things happen in SEO over those 11 years. A lot of different ways of doing things agency side. Lots of different agencies have, it's all pretty much the same job, but lots of agencies try to have a different way that they approach SEO strategy, and I've picked up a few things along the way. Recently gone freelance, which has been it's been a whole other thing, but it's really exciting, and it's really good to sort of get my hands dirty with lots of other projects that from being one agency, you'd be working on all the same clients. You don't necessarily you do get exposure to lots of different challenges, but sometimes if you're working on the same clients, it can get a bit. It's good to get some diversity. Anyway, that's where I've come from and what I'm doing at the moment. And this is designed to be just an introduction to SEO strategy, really. There's some things that I touch on a surface level. So some things about auditing, that's kind of for another talk. This is about sort of SEO strategy on a top level. So starting with a definition of what is SEO strategy, which I found quite interesting by Googling it. So there's a featured snippet, a rich result for that query. The result that Google is seeing as the most relevant for just the keyword SEO strategy is a article from HubSpot, which actually I don't feel really describes SEO strategy in the way that it. I think it does it a little bit of a disservice, where it just says it's the process of organising a website's content by topic. There's a bit more to it than that. This is This is describing website taxonomy work. This is one part of SEO. So I found that interesting that that there's this article that's out there that's not as in depth about the topic as you would hope. Go further with the other results that are coming up for SEO strategy, and if you're in the industry, you'll be familiar with these ultimate guide posts, the step-by-step posts, and these kind of things. There's a lot of good stuff in here, but again, sort of doesn't tell the full story. And what was also interesting about those results is that everything is very well optimized for 2019, and it's a standard in the industry to be optimizing your content for 2019. But I had to ask the question, what's really so different? As Andrew said, there's a lot of Google updates. You need to understand the improvements that Google's making to its algorithm to ensure that that everything you're doing is within the guidelines. But pretty much, Google have been saying do similar things as long as I've been in SEO. It's always been be about the user, make the highest quality content you can, answer the query the best way that you can. So I find that quite interesting that we're still saying 2019, but just for some things that might have changed the goalposts. There was an update in 2018, or about a year ago now actually, known in the industry as the Medic update. And there's a set of guidelines called the Google Quality Rater Guidelines, which is there's some information provided to humans that sort of in summary, sort of sense check what the algorithm does to make sure the search results are providing the best experience for the user. But the thing is about this, the industry kind of lost its mind a bit over this update. There's been a lot of, it's like how to optimize for EAT. But the fact of the matter is, this has been something that's been in those quality rater guidelines so I will have seen them in 2011, 2012, a long time. It's really interesting that in 2018, the industry kind of started to jump on this en masse. Voice search, there's often a lot of talk about how you optimize for voice search, but I have a few thoughts about voice search. I'm probably not indicative of the world as a whole and how they use voice search, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the stats that are out there saying 50% of all searches are now voice search. I wonder how useful those searches are, but it's interesting. Clients will come saying, we need to make sure we're optimized for voice search. And the thing is, optimizing for voice search isn't so different to optimizing for search in general. The difference is that anyone making a query with their voice, it's usually more of a long tail query, more detailed, it's more phrased like a question. But essentially, it's still pretty much the same job. How do we optimize for mobile? Every year since 2011 has been the year of the mobile. It's just kind of interesting that it's one of those things that's in there. And as Andrew was saying, one of the most recent updates last week or so, it was last week, there's been a change to how Google categorizes its links. It's given some options to people on how to categorize outbound links to a website. And as Andrew said, the industry is losing its mind over it a bit. But again, it's the way things have always been. The reason I'm making the point about SEO strategy in 2019 and how that should, it's not, if done correctly, it's not so different. The point I'm trying to make here is that the word strategy is something that's often misused. People will come asking for a strategy and then proceed to define it in a different way. Marketers and their clients misuse the word all the time. And the meaning is also frequently forgotten in the context of SEO as a channel specifically. Your boss or your client will come to you, I want a strategy, I want a roadmap. The roadmap isn't really the strategy. A strategy is not just a project plan. It's not just a set of KPIs. It's certainly not ranking number one for something. So that may be one of the objectives that you want from your SEO strategy, but that objective is not a strategy in and of itself. It's also not. It's not a checklist. It is not. So this is from one of the results that was in the first few results for SEO strategy 2019 or SEO strategy. These results, I understand why it's doing it, is to try and make it accessible for people to demystify this as a practice, as a science or as an art, what people do, to try and make it, oh yeah, follow these easy steps and you too will be an SEO. But it's not one size fits all. It's just a bit misleading to be saying that this is how you do SEO strategy. And the thing is, the main you often need a list of actions to execute on your strategy, but this checklist, the actual strategy is the thing that is the point of difference, is this find an opportunity keyword. That's what these steps are designed to do. They're saying, this is how we're going to increase traffic to your website. We find a keyword that's going to be less competitive, and then all this other stuff is kind of standard. So you've got this checklist of this is what SEO strategy is. But take an example. Say you were optimizing. I absolutely adore this graph. If anyone who can't see the site that it is, it's the Daily Mail's organic visibility over the last 2 years, and it is glorious. If whatever side of the fence you're on, but so you've got that strategy of, well, to do SEO, you need to find an opportunity keyword, and then you need to optimize metadata, and you need to do all of this stuff. That strategy is not going to help the Daily Mail. It's one strategy for one type of business, one type of website. It's certainly not how you would do SEO strategy in this situation. Yeah, just strange. I stole this wording. I like this wording from a colleague, from somebody in the industry, Hannah Smith. She's a creative strategist. She was very clear about strategy being making specific recommendations for a particular company in a particular market to achieve a defined objective. It is bespoke. SEO strategy should be bespoke to the specific situation. And context is everything. So a bit of strategy 101, just in general business, any strategy, whether it's SEO, marketing, digital marketing, business strategy, the things that you always need to assess are, where is the where is the client, or where is the brand website now, what they want to achieve from their website, where they want to be, and then how do they get there. So you always, there's some practical things in here now. So we always start with a situation analysis. First thing I would do, and I also need to caveat this with, I don't often approach SEO strategy in exactly the same way with every single thing that comes to me. It is entirely situation dependent, but generally these are the sorts of things that I recommend people do. So the first thing is to understand your position in the marketplace. So there's these paid competitor analysis tools. They all do very similar things. They all do bits of it a little bit better than, some do things better than others. If you're in the Systrix training, you'll know what it does inside out. But these are its competitors. Agencies have access to all of these tools, and it gives you the most well-rounded view of a website's position in the marketplace against its competitors. But if you don't have access to that industry tool set, you can do quite a robust competitor analysis just purely by Googling. I'd say the Daily Mail would need something a bit more at scale, but you can get a sense of who your competition is simply through Googling things. And there's this plug-in here that most people in the industry use called Keywords Everywhere. You'll see that. It just talks about volume, cost per click. It's not directly related to SEO, but it gives you a sense of how much it would cost you to get that traffic if you were paying for it. So it gives you a sense of the competition and whether you would want to be going after this keyword or not. So it's possible to do SEO competitor analysis without tools. I'd prefer not to, but you can do it. The best and richest source of data about an SEO strategy is from Google Analytics and Google Search Console, the data that you hold on your brand. If it's a startup, if it's a brand new website, then you obviously won't have access to this data. But any website that's been going for a while, you can get an awful lot of insight from the data that you already hold. Something that I often see, and it's so simple, there's a way to tie Google Search Console with Google Analytics data. You literally just you pair them within the admin panel on Google Analytics. So many people forget to do that, and so you get less data in Search Console itself. You get much more of it if you pair it with Google Analytics. You get to see all of the queries that are driving traffic to your site, or at least a close approximation of them. But in general, it's a good thing to have. So once you've done the marketplace assessment, you need to perhaps define your objectives first. I'd try and define them first, see where you are, and then redefine, just tweak and understand that it's something that you can actually do. So you need to know what you want to achieve from SEO. Subliminally, it's usually money, but it may not be. There might be something else you're wanting to get out of SEO. You need to understand whether you can realistically achieve it, and you will, analysing all the data that's out there. So, for example, seeing what's happened to the Daily Mail, they're not recovering anytime soon. If somebody in the Daily Mail said, right now we want to, we need to double our traffic in the next 3 months, you'll know that's not realistic from the previous performance. So you need to be honest about what can realistically be achieved. Do you have the patience to undertake an SEO program, a series of SEO tasks? Because you will hear SEO is the long game. It's not something that you can achieve some. I hate the phrase quick wins, but you can achieve some quick wins in SEO. There are some things you can make quite a swift impact with, but generally it's about layering on incremental improvements and seeing things go up over time. So if you're in the market for SEO services, you do generally need to be patient. Here's an example of a brand. So this is going way back now, but AO.com, before they were AO.com, they were Appliances Online. In 2013, they had a website on appliancesonline.co.uk. They rebranded, they botched up the migration, And then they finally resolved the technical issues, they still were absolutely nowhere near. So this anyone who's not familiar with Sistrix, this basically shows how much traffic, how much stuff a website is ranking for. It's the visibility index. It's a close approximation of how well a website is doing in search. So it was doing incredibly well, the best it ever had, then dropped a little bit, and then, damn, when AO.com was launched, it took them 3 years from that migration to make a recovery from that initial migration. And the reason for that was, so this bit here is technical issues. Most of this is link penalty. So having, they had a domain that had, it was in what's known as bad neighbourhoods. It had lots of terrible spammy links from porn sites and things. You know, it just couldn't perform. Then it saw that huge spike in visibility in, end of 2016 because of a link-related algorithm update. But it still took them. So they got the best performance they've ever had. It still took them 6 years from the migration. I've laboured the point, but SEO really is the long game. It's important that people understand that. there are some, but I wouldn't. When people, when they labour the point about quick wins, I just say no. Dial down your expectations a little. It's not the channel for you if you're thinking there's going to be quick wins. What else do people ask for? People ask for first page of Google. The question is for what? What do you want to be first page of Google for? So often, what the business believes people will be searching for, how it understands its products, is not what the audience is searching for. More often than not, I'm just trying to, that sort of niche industries will say, well, they'll be searching for photographic equipment in Cambridge. They're not. That's not. You must do your keyword research to understand exactly what you want to be going after. More leads, but of course, that's what most marketing activity is designed to do, but you need to understand from whom. You need to do an audience analysis to understand exactly where you think these leads may come from. Someone to do the blog is something, it gets sort of, when people come asking for SEO services and they want a strategy, they've already prescribed the strategy to you. They want you to do your blog, to do their blog. Now, sometimes a blog is part of a well-rounded content strategy. Sometimes it is going to drive SEO improvements, but if it's just literally to do the blog, I would do the blog. It's a strange thing. I would question someone coming asking for that alone. You need a robust content strategy. You need to have done the research to understand exactly what's going to go into the blog. Just creating content willy-nilly is not going to cut it. Sometimes they'll come asking for links. Again, what links? Where from? Link building in SEO is an art, and it's getting harder to do this at scale. You need to define a strategy in order to get these. So double check the sort of thing you're expecting SEO to achieve, and be realistic whether it is as a channel going to provide the results that you want. It may be after you've done the analysis, so say you're in a position like AO.com, it's totally tanked and the site's just not going to perform anytime soon. You may wish to be looking elsewhere. You may be thinking about PPC or, generally I'm thinking PPC or investing in branding or something else that, SEO may not be the channel for you at this time. So many, this is the industry, but so many people will sell SEO packages to somebody who says, I want to buy SEO. Everyone's letting each other down. Everyone is letting each other down in that situation because they're selling something that isn't not necessarily going to solve the problem, and then the buyer's not going to be satisfied because they've been sold something that's not going to work because it's not actually what they need. So both suppliers and buyers have, they have a responsibility to, do the right thing and just make sure, SEO providers can refer you to to other people that are going to solve the problem for you. So that's about being realistic and understanding exactly what's possible from the situation analysis you've done of the competition and the market landscape and everything. You need to develop a deep understanding of your audience. The way that I usually will do this, I try to find good audience analysis tools, but I've never really found a substitute for keyword research. Really understanding how people search for your products, your brand, really understanding how your competitors perform for all these kinds of keywords. So you have the usual tools, but Keywords Everywhere is a free tool, and it literally does put keyword data everywhere against. This is one of my favourite parts of what the tool does. So within, it will give you all the search volume results within the search engine results pages, and lots of suggestions for other keywords that you might be relevant for. But within Google Analytics itself, within the Search Console, the Search Console report, it will put volumes against clicks and impression data. It's just really a good time saver. It helps you understand exactly which keywords are going to drive would be likely to drive the most traffic if you were going to be competing for them. Audience insight, I do have to just mention here that you can get demographics data from Google Analytics. I don't always find it massively helpful. It will typically say it's 50% male, 50% female, between the ages of 25 and 54. It's not. It sometimes can be useful, but I wouldn't use it as the only definition of what your audience is like. But it's there. You need to gain a deep understanding of the competition as well as yourselves. So find out who links to your competition and why. These are paid tools. Open Link Profile is quite a good, it's a fairly new tool. It gives you 100 results for free. It can give you just a quick, short, sharp test of who's linking to you and who's linking to your competition. If you want to do an in-depth analysis, Ahrefs, Majestic, SEMrush also does it. Ahrefs and Majestic are the leaders. Find out what the competition ranks for with these kinds of tools. Ranking reports are quite expensive because you have to send a lot of queries to Google, really, to understand where things are ranking. So that's why these tools sort of corner the market and that sort of thing. But it's a good thing to get a benchmark on. And check your competitors' technical SEO health. So this is all about auditing, and it's a talk in and of itself, but just top level. You need to understand how well the sites are being crawled and indexed and ranked according to technical factors. So Screaming Frog and Sitebulb are good tools for this. You have Google Lighthouse, which is free and within Google Chrome, and it does have an SEO audit function. There's other tools that will give you much broader look at how to do an SEO audit, but Lighthouse is a good starting point, especially for free. So as well as competition, understand your own website's SEO strengths and weaknesses, and check the same things. Understand who links to you. Is there anybody who shouldn't be? There's link building. Sorry. There's two sides of assessing a link profile. There's looking at the high quality links that are coming into your site and looking whether you can sort of replicate those or build on those further. And there's also looking at your link profile to see if there are low quality links coming into your website from disreputable sources. So it's important to deal with that, and you can do that using what's called a disavow file. Get a sense of where you rank, what you're ranking for, and why don't you, and start to build a picture of why is the competition ranking for this set of keywords, but I'm not. Understand the disparity between the competition's website and your own. Try and paint a picture there. And also assess your technical SEO health. It's because basically if you're, it's quite extreme, but if you can't be found, if your site can't be crawled, then it's not going to succeed in SEO. It's probably the first thing you need to do. And then take all those readings and be honest about what you can achieve. combine your findings into a SWOT analysis. I don't always do this, but it's a good way of, it's a standard business tool to get a sense of where the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats lie. I just tried this with the Daily Mail from an SEO perspective to look at what are its, what could they go off, what should their SEO strategy be, looking at, this is very basic, it's not that detailed, but would they be trying to build on their strengths? Do they need to rectify their weaknesses? Would they go after an external opportunity, or do they need to neutralise threats? I'd say their biggest issue at the moment is the fact that they have an awful lot of SEO weaknesses, and if I was to go in and deal with, I don't know why I'd want to, but deal with the SEO strategy for the Daily Mail, then I'd deal with the things that are an issue. For example, the quality of their content. It is what it is, but if you compare what's within Google's guidelines for expertise, authoritative and trustworthiness, which is what EAT stands for, it's the Daily Mail. It doesn't really stack up, so they'd want to address that. But they've also got lots of technical issues, so this will sort of give you an idea of what to pick off first. If there's more in one corner, you'll know that you'll know what to go after in general. And then doing a deep analysis, so off the back of an audit, you'll have a huge, it could be huge, you'll have a list of SEO issues and opportunities, and you'll want to order them in terms of effort and impact. So for example, so I typically use some tools from the Agile tool set. So I just looked at a few things that might be wrong with a website from an SEO perspective. Look at how large the task is. So so you do it in T-shirt sizes. Is it a small task, medium, large, or extra large, extra large? And prioritise them in terms of whether you must have them, because it absolutely has to be done in order to perform from an SEO perspective, or you should do, or you could do, or it won't have this time. I've included a task in here that I don't feel is particularly important. It's one of those things that if you do a huge audit, you'll pull out, meta descriptions. The meta descriptions need sorting out. But arguably, they probably don't on a website on the blog. When they're not a direct ranking factor. It'd be a nice to have, and I probably wouldn't do them initially. But it's good to order these things in this way. So I'm saying this as an SEO, I'll be very quick, saying, oh yeah, you need to work out which are the priorities and hit them, but how would you do this if you weren't an SEO native? So you can get information, you get a sense of what is going to make the biggest splash from an SEO perspective by looking at ranking factor surveys. But the thing you need to note is that these are based on people's opinions. They're based on the opinions of people that have been doing this for a living, but it is opinion based and it's not scientific, so you need to treat with caution. But it gives you a sense of gives you a starting point. Failing that, you get a sense of what will actually, always think in the way that Google thinks as well, make changes that are going to be beneficial for the user. Make any changes that are going to improve your value proposition overall. Anything that is an improvement and not something that you feel like you're doing for SEO purposes, just to get some keywords on the page. Generally, that's going to have a beneficial impact on your SEO, just as a general thing. If you're not comfortable with it, you can always get a professional in. But I just want to wrap up with this to say, these are all kind of these are the building blocks of SEO. These are the basics. Isn't everybody doing this by now? You'd be surprised that they're not. But if you are working in a competitive vertical, I finished with a few things that will help you stand apart from the rest. So you do need to do all of the above. But then how would you differentiate yourselves? I've just given a few different ways that you can do this. So, and if budget is limited and you can only focus on one thing at a time, or a subset of things, perhaps you establish a point of difference in a certain area of SEO. So if you assess how fast your competitors' sites are, can you have a superior site speed? Can you beat them on links? Can you have better content? Can you improve your user experience? Try and pick an area if you're limited in terms of budget and resource. Look for crossover with other channels. This is something that's often overlooked. Digital marketing channels often operate in silos. The second you start to merge insights from channels, you can do a lot better. So, for example, with Google AdWords data, you can get a sense of what's working well. For if you are running PPC, what's working well on PPC, apply that knowledge to SEO, and vice versa. If you are running, so this is for larger brands, but if you're running activity on the Google Display Network, you can inform your digital PR work by understanding the placements that work well. And then, so if it's a competitive industry, maybe the thing you need to do, provided the strategy is okay, provided you know exactly what you want to do and you have a sense of what it's going to do, perhaps you need to accelerate by investing further. I'm saying all this, I did get this wrong. I've been successful, but I think I approached this a bit wrong for a lot of my career, in as much as we were always encouraged to do huge audits to try and find absolutely everything that was wrong with a website. But I'm coming across these now, where in some of the places I'm working at, and I realise that there's an awful lot of noise, there's an awful lot of stuff that is irrelevant that you don't really need to do. You really don't. If you stick with some of the themes in this presentation, it's a lot. It's less of a facing. It's not. You don't have to go with all of the those huge audits, really. It doesn't have to be too painful. Hopefully, the tools in this presentation will allow you to choose your battles and win them. Thank you for listening.